Hello, Daniel.
Hello.
Hello, Daniel. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Wonderful. Um, so it is what, 2 o'clock? No, 4 o'clock.
At 2 o'clock.
Oh, it's 2 o'clock there. Okay. Um,
Hope it didn't keep you up too late.
I'm an owl.
Oh, good. Beautiful pictures. I always enjoy seeing your pictures of the musicians in the lockdown.
I'm so happy to hear that. They are a wonderful, wonderful group of people that I got together, and um, I started this project with the idea that it will attract the right people, that people who get the idea would say yes. And really, I've met the most wonderful musicians and dancers and yeah, artists overall. So
It's great. It's great.
thank you very much.
Mhm.
Thank you so much for talking to me. Where were you in? You're in New Orleans now.
Yes, I am.
Okay. And you had your lockdown there.
I actually had most of the lockdown in New Hampshire, up north
Oh.
in New England. Yes,
Mm.
by a lake alone by myself in a family property right on a lake,
Mm.
and it was frozen and cold and a lot of snow. And of course, I was heavily monitoring the news as I am all the
Mm.
time on the TV and the radio and the internet.
Mm.
And in the early wild days,
Mm.
of course, it was very shocking, and it still is, you know.
Mm. Yeah, because that's what I want to ask you now. Initially, when you heard it, I mean, were you there at that time, or did you go there because of the lockdown?
I went basically because of it. So
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I had been in South America playing concerts in
Mm.
January and February, and I
Mm.
was actually with David Aaron Carpenter, the violist, and his siblings. We were playing concerts together, chamber concerts,
Mm.
and we were monitoring. We had been hearing more and more about this virus, and we were looking at the different maps, and there was the initial outbreak in Italy, and in the Middle East and Iran, and then in China. And we all said, you know, this is coming. It has to be
Mm.
coming to the rest of the
Mm.
world. And so I got back to the United States, and there were rumors, there were whisperings, there were ideas. And of course, I was talking to friends in Europe who
Mm.
were telling me, yeah, things are shutting down here completely.
Mm.
And I knew within a week or two, the same would happen in
Mm.
America.
Mm. Yeah, because Europe, I think, shut down first before America, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
And then I mean, I think we were all a bit in disbelief that it's possible. I mean, when I heard the Staatsoper closed, it's for me, it was I never expected that, you know. So was it the same there? Could you get your head around this?
Not quite, not
Mm.
quite. It was something that you certainly never thought you would see. I remember the very last concert I played with the orchestra was a broadcast from the big cathedral, and it was
Mm.
supposed to be a big concert with the radio and television broadcasting live, and there was no audience. They did the broadcast, and so we would finish a Beethoven overture,
Mm.
and then there'd be silence, you know, total silence, and we
Mm.
all sort of looked around and turned the page. Okay, now we play the next
Mm.
piece. It
Mm.
was extremely strange, and I remember that here in the United States, I first left that concert, and I was speaking with the security guard at the stage door,
Mm.
and the Bühneneingang,
Mm.
and he said to me, "Did you hear what happened?" I said, "No, what happened?" He said, "Tom Hanks has the coronavirus and the NBA is canceled." You know, when when the NBA is canceled, you know, oh my, I said, that's the end. So
Yeah.
I got home from that concert, and I took my white tie and my tails, and I hung them up
Mm.
in the wardrobe, and I took a video of myself doing that, and I said to a few friends, I said, this may be the last time I'll be putting on these tails and white tie for a long time. And unfortunately, I was correct.
Mm. And then you went, is that their family home where you went to? Okay.
Yes.
Well, that's the best place to go then, to be with family. And of course, people who could go outside the cities, I think they had the benefit of at least not being, locked up in apartments and so on. So
Yes.
what did
Yes.
you and also, did you think it would just be a short time? Or did you so when you did that video, you suspected it would be a long time?
I suspected it would be a medium period of time. Although when I left here, I said to my friends, I said, yeah, I'll be back in 2 weeks. I'm thinking 2 weeks.
Okay. Yeah.
Instead, it was 9 months.
Mm.
And I didn't play any music with any other people until July. In July, I played some duos over in Maine, on the coast of Maine, with a bassoon friend of mine. We played the Mozart duo and a few other pieces, but just two people in the house for a few friends basically. And that was the first time I had played with another musician live since March.
And do you normally play with other musicians?
All the time
Oh,
in
okay.
the
Yeah.
well, you mean in normal times or
Yeah,
now?
normal times. Yeah.
Well, normal time playing chamber music and orchestra every week, or orchestra every week, and lots of chamber music. Now it is very rare. I did do a recording session of some Beethoven piano trios up at the theater that Loren Mazel built in Virginia. That was in January, and so before that, that was a real first serious thing I had done.
I think we sometimes forget this, that you are used to this interaction with each other. I think that's the same in ballet as well. They're always with somebody. It's not a solo job, and of course I think you miss that a lot, that interaction, even though you are with other people. I think it's that like you say, with other musicians doing the same thing on the same level.
Completely. And music is so much about people, as you say. It's so much about the interaction and the give and take and the back and forth. And you really don't get this when you're playing socially distanced, wearing masks and everything. It's not, you can barely see the face. You miss a lot of the communication, which is what happens in music when you look over and they say, we'll do here, and then they you very clear cue, and you see the facial expression. When you're 6 or 10 feet apart, you're 3-4 meters apart, everybody with a mask, it's not the same thing. You don't feel like you're doing the same thing.
Did you do a lot of so when you were now in lockdown, did you practice a lot, or did you just think, okay, I'll just take this time and relax a little bit?
It went in waves. I would say there was a lot of practicing for 3 or 4 weeks, then I would calm down and not do as much. And so it still goes in waves. Right now I'm practicing a lot, but there was a period where I was actually sending a recording of an etude every day to a friend of mine who's a principal clarinet over in Cincinnati, and he would send me one every day. So we were really keeping at a very good level, because we had to prepare something to send to the colleague each day. So that was a wonderful exercise to make something really good for a recording, and then you send it to one person, he sends you, and next day you do this is the same thing.
Yeah, so because I don't know if I personally had this time where I go out a lot and photograph people, street photography, and because there were no people in the streets, the streets were very empty, and it got to me, that emptiness, because I'm used to looking for people, looking for couples. I photograph couples. And I got to a point really where I didn't want to pick up my camera anymore, because there was just not that motivation for me to do it. And usually I do every day. I go out almost every day to photograph. And did you get that feeling where you just really didn't feel like picking up the instrument?
Well, I think I did, and it happens to a lot of people where they think, well, when is the next concert going to be? You know,
Mm,
you're used to, as you said with the photography, you're used to
mm,
saying, well, I have this to do, and I have this couple or whatever to photograph, and same thing. Well, I have the Dvorak next week, so I need to
mm,
practice the Dvorak. When there's nothing, you can get a feeling of nothingness. You can get a feeling
yeah,
of solitude, and you look over, you see the camera or the cello in the case,
mm,
and it's very sad to see it staying there alone. You, at a certain point,
yeah,
you feel you need to take it. I'm sure you felt that too with the camera.
yeah, yeah. And this is also, you know, what I'm thinking about, that motivation, you know, what keeps you motivated. Um, of course, I mean, I work alone, but you, of course, also work with other people, so you also enjoy that interaction. Um, so, do you think in from this time, did you uh, can you see already something positive? Can you find something that you think, you know, this was really a good period for me?
Well, in a personal sense, it was a good period because I was finally able to start my podcast, which I had been wanting to do for about 5 years, had never had the time to do. So the
Mm,
podcast is now heard in more than 70 countries. So it's been
mm,
going very well. So that is a very good thing. Personally,
mm,
on the musical side, you know, I think it certainly taught me and many other people how
mm,
precious live concerts are, how much of
mm,
a gift it is to be able to go to the hall and hear Madame Butterfly or the Beethoven Nine,
mm, mm,
and to reinforce the feeling that music is essential, art is essential, that
mm,
I do not believe they are luxuries. I believe they're
mm,
absolutely essential items. I don't know what I would do without music in my life. And I think it taught the same lesson to many people, that it was more important now than ever to have it and support it. I hope the general public feels this way as well.
mm. Did you come from a musical family?
No professional musicians. Mom was an
Oh,
amateur violin player, amateur piano
mm,
player, but both parents love music and
mm,
know a lot about music, so they were always very encouraging.
mm,
They never forced me to play, but they were always encouraging. You know, if you want to
mm.
do it, you want to be a cellist, you know, we're here along the way, and we'll be
Yeah,
helping you. So a very lucky upbringing in that respect.
yeah. So did you, what age were you when you first played the cello?
4.5.
Really? Oh, that's
Yeah.
so young. And
Yeah.
I mean, did you see something or hear something that you thought at that age you wanted to do it?
Yes, so I was very lucky that there was a wonderful science museum nearby. And
Mm.
at one point, they were doing a demonstration for little children about how sound waves travel like this through the air. You know, they go in these
Oh,
waves
yeah,
like this.
yeah.
And they had hired a cellist to come and demonstrate for all the little kids in the audience. And
Mm,
after the demonstration was over about the science, the cellist invited all the little kids to come up to the cello, put their hand on the top of the cello like this,
mm,
and feel as she drew the bow, and you
mm,
could really feel the vibrations going from the hand all the way through along the arm and up through the
mm,
shoulder into the back into the body. And
mm,
that was when I was about 2.5 years old, so very young.
mm,
And I said
mm.
to my mom in the car on the way home, I said, Mama, you know, I really have to play the cello.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And then well, you were too young then, but then
Too
at
young.
cautious,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, then finally we found a very good teacher, moved to New Hampshire up from New
Mm,
York. Luckily, she moved into rural New Hampshire from New York,
mm,
and we heard about her, and she was a fantastic teacher. So I got with her
mm,
when I was 4.5, almost 5. Yeah.
mm. And then, did you go to a music school or just a normal school?
Yes, well, for university music school. Up until
Okay.
then, I was in New Hampshire studying. I
Mm,
studied for 10 years with that teacher. Then, beginning
mm,
in high school, so beginning when
mm,
I was 13 or 14 years old, I was going to Boston every weekend for orchestra and for
Oh,
lessons.
okay. Oh, okay. And then university. So
Yeah.
but what age did you think that you want to be a musician?
Well, it's interesting. I don't think I ever made a conscious decision that I want to be a professional musician. I think one thing leads to another. You get better, then you start going to Boston, then you win the principal cello, then you do something else, and you study. I was studying with Jana Starker in Bloomington at the school there, Indiana in Bloomington, and with Starker, then you win something else, and then suddenly you become, you know, so deep in the art, in the music, you don't really have a choice.
Oh, okay.
Must.
So the music chose you. You didn't choose the music, basically.
I think like, yeah, I think like you would agree in photography and in many arts and ballet and music that it's like a magnet. Once it gets hold of you, it pulls you in, you know, it's a strong force.
Well, I don't, I don't see myself as an artist. I just think I have I'm just at the right time, at the right moment with a camera. That's
well,
all.
It is great what you do. They are artistic, beautiful photos.
Thank you. But so I'm talking to everybody about children and music, and because I'm thinking that now the situation in America. I've spoken to artists in New York as well, and the support from the government doesn't seem to be that great for you.
Well, this is nothing new. This is the American tradition of private funding for symphonies and for museums, and you know the government does not fund now and has never really funded the arts in a very serious way. The arts are very well supported by philanthropic foundations and by individual donors, and it is not in the American tradition, for better or for worse, that the state keeps private institutions going. Whether it's an opera or the Metropolitan Museum, it is these are private institutions, and so it's a very different model from Europe, where it's sort of expected that the state is going to pay for the opera. That's just normal. It's so not how it is here, and there's downsides and upsides both, probably.
But these donors and or these companies now during this time, do they support the artists?
Well, to a certain extent, because a lot of these places have continued to pay their musicians, and a lot of these places have continued, obviously surviving. They're still here, so they're still paying. But it is a tough time for many people, because you have to convince the institutions with a lot of money, if it's a bank or if it's an oil company or something, you have to convince them that this is essential. That when you read about starving children and people going without housing and things, you have to say, why give to the symphony? Why support? And that's the crucial argument that you have to make, that now more than ever, it's nourishment for the soul that's absolutely critical.
But now, when there are these outside or these private companies that sponsor orchestras, for example, are there some sort of control then? Are there some sort of or are these orchestras and musicians then still free to do how they want to do it?
Well, I think they're free to do how they want to do it. I think they don't expect that a Bank of America is going to tell you what to program. You know, they probably don't really know.
Okay. So that's not that's never an issue.
Not that I'm aware of. No, not in that sense. I think they want to see a good representation of a diverse list of soloists, excuse me, and conductors and repertoire. But no, I don't. I've never had the impression that the institutions felt any pressure from a donor like that. Yeah.
And this in the schools, what is the situation with education and art? Are there many opportunities for children?
You mean in the young schools for the young
Yeah,
people?
yeah.
Well, I think it depends on the school. It depends on the school. A huge range in the United States. There's a huge range of what kind of opportunities are offered. For me personally, I grew up in a place where, starting in the fourth grade, so that would be like age 8 or 9, maybe, there was, orchestra offered for everybody: violin, cello,
Oh, okay.
oboe,
Yeah.
not just trumpet and saxophone, but
Mm,
a real orchestra in the
mm,
public school.
mm,
That's not the case in every public school.
mm,
It depends. I know my orchestra, for example, does a lot of young people's concerts. So in the normal time, non-pandemic time, by the end of the season, almost 30,000 kids will have heard the orchestra in a concert.
wow.
Many
Yeah.
orchestras do this in their cities. But the
Mm,
question is, does that happen when they go back to school?
mm,
When they leave the concert, do they have an opportunity to continue?
yeah.
That
Mm,
that's tougher. It really depends on the school. It depends on the amount of money available and the values. Does
mm,
the school value soccer, football, basketball, or
mm,
do they also value maybe an orchestra and a choir program?
mm. And your audiences, I mean, do you think in America specifically, do you think art is valued and artists are valued?
Well, I do think art is valued. Artists are valued. I don't think they are compared to athletes, or
Mm,
compared
mm.
to a broker on Wall Street.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
you know, no, compared to that, no.
Mm,
but
yeah.
but but there is a deep sense of appreciation when you
Mm.
tell someone you play with the symphony,
Oh,
even if they
okay.
don't even if
Yeah.
they don't like the
Mm.
symphony or know anything about it. They are impressed. Wow, you play with this.
Mm.
That's great.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
in the back of the head, there's an appreciation.
Mm.
Of course, you always want more people to be involved. You
Mm.
want Beethoven 5 to be the hottest ticket in town.
Yeah, yeah. Because I'm wondering if now that we have this pandemic, that we rethink many things, and also education, where children have the opportunity to study art, really study art, and not just have art as like a side thing, or just a visit to a concert, but really a study, and a subject next to maths and science, for example. Do you think uh, that is also important?
I think it's very important. I think it's extremely important, and I think that it's going to be very difficult to convince people that it's necessary.
Mm,
But art and the humanities have been around longer than almost anything. They've been here. They've been with us. Every generation gets to learn about Beethoven, or gets to learn about Da Vinci or
mm,
Rembrandt or Mozart. And I think you have to, especially coming out of the pandemic, people need to be very loudly saying, this is important. We need it. We
yeah.
can't live without it. You can't have a society without it.
Mm, mm. And now, and also that you mentioned that science experiment that you've been to, that
Mhm.
the cellist was there with the cello, and you think how closely related these things are. And I don't know anything about or much about music, but I also heard that Mozart used mathematical patterns to compose. Is that true? Is that right?
I don't know if he thought about using, I don't think he thought about using mathematical patterns. I'm sure there are many wonderful mathematical patterns in Mozart. For
Mm.
him, I think it was just
Oh,
writing
okay,
music.
okay.
But there
But
is
all these,
certainly,
yeah.
oh yeah, connected. They're connected.
Mm, mm,
Absolutely. You can't.
mm,
I always feel that people do not put music with math or with history or with
Mm,
science, and they should. They
mm,
should, because it is a part of society. It's a part of
mm,
civilization. It's a part of uh, our heritage to look back
mm,
and see the great painters and composers and musicians that have come before. And that's why I started cello when I was 5 years old, because I heard the sounds of Beethoven, because
mm,
I heard the sounds of Mozart. And that's why people begin as a kid. They hear a piece they love, they say, I want to do that. And we
mm.
must fight very strongly, especially when the pandemic in a few months, or who knows when it starts to end, to say it's important now more than ever.
Yeah. Do you also think that we talk about well, America is big on this sportsmen and women, and
Mm.
of course all the celebrities, but musicians in America, I mean, you all go through a lot. You study a lot. You studied for many years, and you never stop learning. And it's almost, you know, and also your careers are not just plain sailing. You know, it's not just you decide and then it happens the way you want it. So you also
Mm.
have many obstacles and things to overcome. But do you think it could be an idea that musicians talk more about, you know, what they deal with, or how much they have to study, or what the life of an artist is like, for people to have more insight and understanding?
I don't know. It's an interesting question. I don't know if insight and understanding would change anything.
Mm,
I don't know. I think a lot of people just assume that uh, you're in the orchestra and you're there for life, and you're up on the stage with the white tie and the tails,
mm,
and that's about it. That's about all they care about. Or maybe
mm,
going once a month, with friends after dinner or before dinner or something. I'm not sure if insight and understanding would help the situation, to be honest. I think what would help a situation more is to have a better education at the beginning. You could
mm,
have all the celebrities you want saying, support the orchestra, support the museum,
mm,
the opera. Yeah, I think it has to start with childhood. It has to start at the beginning, and that
mm,
makes it a very, very great challenge. We have
mm.
330 million people in this country, many
Yeah.
schools. We have 50 states and so many thousands of schools. So where are the values? We have
Mm,
to find them.
yeah. No, I totally agree with you that you know, that I think the benefit for children to have that experience, um, and of course we know that this uh, it is proven that music also, they can see that the cells of the body can be affected by the frequency of
Mm.
music. So, you know, all the science is there. The experiments have been done already. So, you know, we just need to now have the possibility for children to have this experience and to have this um, education in art. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, just on a lighter note, was there anything interesting you did apart from playing the cello in lockdown? Did you do some hobby that you never had time for, or
I
yeah.
did. You know what I did? There's at this property I mentioned on the lake in New Hampshire, there's a very old stone wall. All through New England, there are old
Oh,
stone walls that are, big, huge rocks, and they make walls, and they're from 200 years ago, or 210 or 180 years ago, because it all
mm,
used to be farming. It all used to
mm.
be for cattle and things like that.
Oh, I see. Okay.
and,
Yeah.
and to prevent, and the wall had really kind of crumbled and was falling down. I spent a long time redoing this wall. uh,
Wow.
so I would
Amazing.
I mean, all the stones were there, but
Mm,
some were on the ground, some were in the ground, so I had to
mm,
dig with a shovel very, very deep, and they're extremely heavy.
mm,
and, so I had to dig down and find it and then reposition, and it
Mm,
really looks terrific now. It was a
mm.
long project in the, in the cold. I had to wait till maybe April, because up there it's winter for a very long time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that was a great project. I'd never done it, but I bought a few books about stone wall rebuilding. There are many
Yeah.
books about it.
I wouldn't expect many. I mean, I wouldn't think that there were really books about it, but I know these stone walls because in the UK you see them as well, and it literally looks as though the stones are they all fit so
Yeah, yeah,
precisely. You
yeah.
cannot imagine that they could find them like that. But now, what is it about this wall that fascinated you so much?
Well, originally it didn't start as a wall idea. Originally it started, I just wanted to rake the leaves. I
Oh,
just
okay.
wanted to clean up the leaves from fall. There were
Mm,
tons and
mm,
tons of leaves because it's
mm,
all trees and forest around. So I just wanted to clean up the leaves. So I was raking and I got the leaves away. And then I started to feel, I could feel, hard underneath. I thought, well, what
yeah.
is that? So I took a shovel, I dug, and I saw the stones, many stones along the wall that over the years had just fallen down and then
Mm,
gotten buried by more and more soil.
mm,
So it started as a simple project that would have taken 2 hours, just
mm,
raking the
mm.
leaves. It turned
Yeah.
into a month-long thing,
Months.
but I thought,
Yeah.
how beautiful would this be if the stone wall could be
Yeah.
restored?
Mm.
Yeah.
I think this is fascinating. Fascinating.
I've never
I
told anybody. You're the first person I've told.
really.
Yeah.
Well, this makes me very happy. But and this for me is, and now this is very memorable. And there's a baritone in Vienna who bought chickens and started a chicken pen at the back of his house. Um,
Wow.
this fascinates me. Is that you I wouldn't put that the two together.
I'll
I mean,
send you some pictures. I have pictures I'll
please,
send you.
I would love that. Oh, that would be amazing.
Yeah. It was very fun. I put on, I always had good music on. I put on either, uh, I listened to a lot of Schumann piano music actually when I was
Oh,
doing that. I
okay.
don't know why. I was listening to
Mm,
Schumann piano music. I was listening to some old Broadway musicals. I was
mm,
listening to Mozart. I'm always listening to Mozart. So I would
mm,
put it on in the headphone and
mm.
spend a
And just
couple hours every day. Yeah.
yeah, that's incredible. Um, that's really that's it's a first time I heard of somebody that would uh,
Same
rake,
here. Same with me.
rake, and then build a wall.
Yeah,
That's a
I
good one.
rebuild, restore. Yeah.
Oh, restore,
Yeah,
restore,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Um,
Mm.
okay, so tell me now, what would your wish be for when this is all over, when we go back to the new normal, the after Corona?
Well, I would say the wish would be that there is a renewed importance on things like live music, on things like the power and the necessity of being able to gather together. I fear that the opposite will happen,
Mhm.
but I hope, and my dream is that people will say, wow, I'm 40 years old. I had all that time to go to the symphony. It's been closed now. I never did. I'm going to make a change and I'm going to buy a subscription tomorrow. I hope and dream that people will understand the value of art, that it makes life so much richer.
Mm,
And being able to go hear a string quartet or something like that is a wonderful thing that we can do. It is really like medicine. And I
mm,
hope more and more people realize, wow, it's not been in my life, it's been closed. I'm going to try it now. That's my
mm.
dream.
Yeah, I think this is also like somebody said the other day, actually to think if you go out for dinner, the money that you spend, you could actually go and watch a concert and get more for it. and for yourself.
Absolutely.
And yeah,
Absolutely.
and maybe we should reevaluate, these things that we so did automatically. Um, but this is why I think it's important that artists talk about this, um, and express these ideas and these feelings, because it's one thing to complain about the situation and that the theaters are closed, but I think if you start talking about the wishes and how you would like it to be, then um, it might just come true.
That it's a nice sentiment. I hope you're right. I'm going to do it, and I hope many of my colleagues do it as well.
Well, I always say the artists are the dreamers of the world, because that day that you started playing the cello when you were 4 years old, you already saw yourself playing the cello, and there were no guarantees, but that was the dream. And you said to your mum, and you wanted to play, and now you're a cellist. And I think the artists are the dreamers, and their dreams come true because they see themselves doing these things, and it's most of the time it comes true. I remember my daughter. She did exactly the same thing. We went to see the Nutcracker, and on the way home, she said she was, I think, 4 years old, and she said she wanted to be a ballet dancer. And I found a little entry in a diary she wrote when she was about 8 years old. And she wrote there, "I want to be a ballerina." Um, and she is a ballet dancer, now. So I always think of that and think that artists have this ability without you even knowing, that you see yourselves doing things and accomplish it then as well. So
And they're lucky when they have such a good mother as you seem to be, that they enable the child to do that. That's important.
well, it's the same with your parents. You think when the wish is there, then you should do it. And I just always think, for example, I come from South Africa, and I think uh, we moved to the UK when she was 7 years old, and there she got the opportunity to be trained at the Royal Ballet School, and she had all these opportunities. But if we lived in South Africa, she wouldn't have had that. And that is really, I think of many girls in South Africa. I say South Africa because I know the country, but I wonder many girls in South Africa who could have been ballet dancers, but just because the opportunities were not there. And that's possibly in America the same situation. When you don't live near a big city or near a place where the training is available, your parents made the effort to let you play the cello.
Mm.
But I'm sure there are places in the countryside where that is not possible and not available.
Absolutely. And the thing about it is, I really think every kid in the world has the potential inside to fall in love with music, or fall in love with dance, or fall in love with something. And every child in the world deserves the opportunity to explore their love and their passion for anything. And every child deserves parents and an upbringing who enable them to explore their dreams. And I hope that we can get to a place when more and more kids have the option to do that, because it is, I call it's accessible for everybody. Every kid falls in love with sounds when they are growing up. Or if they're lucky enough to be taken to the ballet, they fall in love with the dance. And so I think it's so tragic in a way that so many kids will never have the opportunity to explore something that could become a life for them, something they could become passionate about. But
Mm,
the door has to be opened, and we need
exactly.
to
Yeah.
open the door to as many kids as possible, because I don't think talent belongs to any race or economic class
Mm-mm.
or anything. It's there, I think, with any kid. They'd have to be
Mm,
shown the door, though.
yeah. No, that's absolutely right. Um, I hope that all will be happening the way you wished, and and that your concerts will be happening soon again. Or have I started? Could you start performing already?
No audiences, just
Oh,
small
okay.
things with only video camera. No live audiences yet.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
But at least you're playing, and all the best for your podcast. Seems that that is going well. What are you talking about on your podcast? Is it music related?
It's not exactly music related, although music always plays a role. I interview
Mm.
leading figures from all different fields, but we always use music as a through line, as a connection. Even
Oh,
if it's a
okay.
scientist or a politician or something, I always bring
Mm.
music in. And
Mm.
the title is Talking Beats, as in
Oh,
music,
okay. Okay.
talking beats. Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Are you on Spotify?
Yes.
Okay, I'll get if you
I'll
talking
send
beats,
you a link. Yeah.
I'll get hold of you.
Well, it's wonderful to talk to you, and I'm going to send you some pictures of the stone wall.
Please do that. Please
Yeah,
do
yeah,
that.
yeah. I
I'm
will.
very fascinated with that now.
I
Okay.
will send.
Okay.
And if you need anything else, you wish to chat again, I'm always here, and it's wonderful to talk to you, Petra.
Lovely. Thank you so much for this, and thank you so much for your time. And have a lovely
Absolutely.
rest of the afternoon.
Have a good evening and enjoy being a night owl.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.